Nice to have you here today. Welcome back to Easy English with PJ. I'm PJ and I'm really glad you're listening. Quick question. How many times have you used your phone today? You tapped, you scrolled, you opened apps without even thinking. Everything just worked. But pause for a moment. Who decided where that button goes? Who chose that color? Who made it feel so easy? Imagine a UI designer. Let's call him Alan. Alan designs the screens you look at, the buttons you press, and the apps you use every single day. But here's the twist. Alan's job taught him something important. English isn't just a subject you study. It's a tool you use every day to build your career. Alan works with teams in different countries. He presents designs in English. He explains ideas in English. He solves problems in English. Without English, he couldn't do his job. This story will show you why English matters in the real world, not as a test, but as a tool that opens doors. Stay with me. You'll see how English can transform your career, just like it transformed Alan's. Now, let's follow a typical day through Alan's experience. Alan, welcome.
Hey PJ, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I'm so glad you could make it. So, tell everyone who you are and what you do.
I'm a UI designer. UI means user interface. It's everything you see on your phone screen. When you open an app, I decide where every button goes, what colors you see, how big the text is, and how you move from one screen to another.
So you design mobile phone interfaces?
Exactly. I've been doing this for about 10 years now.
10 years. That's a lot of experience. But today, I don't want to just talk about UI design. I want to talk about something that surprises a lot of people. How much English matters in your job. Because I think many people don't realize that English is everywhere in the technology industry. Sound good?
Absolutely. English is probably more important to my job than people think.
Perfect. So let's start from the beginning. When you first started as a UI designer, how was your English?
When I started, my English was okay but not great. I could read and write a little, but speaking and listening were really difficult for me.
Did you realize you would need English for the job?
Not really. I thought UI design was just about creating beautiful screens. I thought it was visual work, not language work. But I was wrong.
What happened?
On my first day, my manager told me we have team members in different countries: the United States, Germany, India, and Japan. And everyone communicates in English.
How did that make you feel?
Honestly, scared. I remember thinking, I can barely speak English. How am I going to work with people from all these countries?
That must have been stressful.
It was. In my first meeting, I had to introduce myself and explain my background. I prepared what I wanted to say, but when it was my turn to speak, I forgot everything. My mind went blank.
What did you do?
I spoke very slowly. I made mistakes. I used simple words. But I finished my introduction, and everyone was patient with me.
Did anyone criticize your English?
No, actually. One designer from Germany said, "Don't worry. English isn't my first language either. We all speak different English here, and that's okay."
That's a great perspective. So what happened next?
I realized that in my job, I need English for everything. When I wake up, I have messages in English from my team. During the day, all my meetings are in English. When I present my designs, I present in English. When I write emails, I write in English. Even my design software, the menus are all in English.
So English is everywhere in your work.
Everywhere. I can't do my job without it.
Did this motivate you to improve your English?
Yes, but not at first. At first, I felt frustrated. I thought, why do I need to learn English? I'm a designer, not a translator.
What changed your mind?
I'll tell you exactly what happened. About 2 months into my job, I designed a really beautiful screen. I worked on it for days. I was so proud of it. Then I had to present it to the team in a video call.
How did the presentation go?
Terribly. I couldn't explain my design decisions in English. I kept saying and I couldn't find the right words. People asked questions, and I didn't understand what they were asking. After 30 minutes, my manager said, "Let's continue this discussion by email."
That must have been embarrassing.
It was. But more than embarrassing, it was frustrating. I had great ideas, but I couldn't communicate them. My English was blocking my career.
So what did you do?
I decided to improve my English, not because I loved learning English, but because I loved my job and I wanted to be good at it.
That's an important distinction. You had a clear reason.
Exactly. I didn't study English for a test. I studied English because I needed it every single day at work.
Let's talk about how you actually use English at work. What does a typical day look like in terms of language?
Well, I wake up at 7. The first thing I do is check my phone for messages. Usually, I have 5 or 10 messages in English from my teammates in other time zones.
What kind of messages?
Things like, "Can you change the button color on screen 5?" Or, "The client wants to see a different layout." Or, "We have a meeting at 3 p.m. to discuss the new design."
So you're reading English before you even have breakfast?
Yes. Then I take the train to work, and I listen to English podcasts about UI design. I'm learning about design trends, but I'm also training my ears to understand English.
So you're using your commute time for English?
I have to. I need every opportunity to improve. Then I arrive at the office, and the real English work begins.
Tell me about your meetings. How many do you have?
Usually, 5 or 6 meetings every day. Every single meeting is in English.
What happens in these meetings?
I present my UI designs to the team. I explain why I chose certain colors or button sizes. I listen to feedback from engineers, managers, and other designers. Then we make decisions together about the interface.
Can you give me an example of what you say in a meeting?
Sure, I might say something like, "I chose blue for this button because blue creates trust and calmness. I made it bigger than the other buttons because this is the most important action on the screen. I tested it with 10 users, and 9 of them found it easily."
That's very specific.
It has to be. I can't just show my design and say, "I think this looks nice." I need to explain my decisions with clear reasons. That requires good English.
What's the hardest part of meetings?
Understanding different accents. My team includes people from the US, UK, India, Germany, Japan, and Singapore. Everyone speaks English differently. Sometimes I understand American English easily, but then someone from India speaks quickly and I get lost.
How do you handle that?
I've learned to say, "Sorry, could you repeat that more slowly?" At first, I was too embarrassed to ask, so I just nodded and pretended to understand. But that caused problems.
What kind of problems?
Once, my manager asked me to change the color scheme of a screen. I didn't understand exactly what she wanted, but I said yes anyway. I spent 2 days working on the wrong thing. When I showed her my work, she said, "No, this isn't what I asked for."
That must have been frustrating.
It was, but I learned an important lesson. It's better to ask for clarification than to waste time doing the wrong thing. Now, I always confirm what people are asking me to do.
So communication prevents mistakes?
Exactly. Good English communication saves time and prevents confusion.
You mentioned that English was blocking your career at first. Can you tell me more about that?
Yes, when I started, I was a junior designer. I did what other people told me to do. I couldn't contribute my ideas because I couldn't express them well in English.
Give me an example.
One time we were designing a new feature for our app. In the meeting, everyone was discussing different approaches. I had a really good idea, but I didn't know how to explain it in English. I stayed quiet. Then another designer suggested something similar to my idea, and everyone loved it. I felt frustrated because I had that idea first, but I couldn't communicate it.
That must have been difficult.
It was. I realized that having good ideas isn't enough. You need to communicate them clearly. In the technology industry, if you can't explain your ideas in English, it's almost like you don't have ideas at all.
That's a powerful statement.
It's the truth. So I made a decision. I started practicing English every day. Not just reading and writing, but speaking and listening.
What did you do, specifically?
I watched English videos about UI design. I listened to how professional designers explained their work. I practiced presenting my designs out loud in my apartment, even when no one was listening. I joined online forums where designers discuss their work in English, and I forced myself to write comments and ask questions.
How long did this take?
About 6 months of daily practice. Then something changed. I was in a meeting, and someone asked a question about button placement. Without thinking, I answered in English, clearly and confidently. My manager looked at me and said, "That's a great point, Alan."
How did that feel?
Amazing. For the first time, I felt like a real member of the team, not just someone who follows instructions.
Did your career change after that?
Yes, dramatically. After about a year of improving my English, my manager asked me to lead a project. That meant I had to run meetings, present to clients, and coordinate with teams in different countries, all in English.
Were you nervous?
Very nervous. But I prepared carefully. I wrote notes before every meeting. I practiced what I wanted to say. And when I didn't understand something, I asked for clarification.
Did the project succeed?
Yes, and that project led to a promotion. I became a senior UI designer, which means more responsibility and better salary. None of that would have been possible without English.
So English directly affected your income?
Absolutely. In the technology industry, designers who speak good English earn significantly more than designers who don't. Not because companies are unfair, but because English allows you to work on international projects, communicate with clients, and lead teams.
Can you give me specific examples of how English helps you now?
Sure. Last month, we had a potential client from the United States. They wanted to see our design capabilities. My manager asked me to present our work to them in a video call.
How did it go?
It went well. I presented for 30 minutes in English. I explained our design process, showed examples of our work, and answered their questions. After the call, my manager said I did an excellent job. 2 weeks later, the client signed a contract with us.
So your English helped win business?
Yes, if I couldn't present confidently in English, we might have lost that client. English isn't just about communication, it's about opportunity.
You work with people from many different countries. How does English help you navigate cultural differences?
That's a great question. English is the bridge that connects everyone, but you also need to understand how different cultures communicate.
What do you mean?
For example, my American colleagues are very direct. If they don't like a design, they say, "I don't think this works." But my Japanese colleagues are more indirect. They might say, "This is interesting, but maybe we could consider some alternatives."
So they're both giving negative feedback, but in different ways.
Exactly. At first, I didn't understand this. I thought my Japanese colleagues liked everything because they never said anything negative directly. But I learned to listen for phrases like, maybe we could consider, or it might be better if. These are polite ways of saying something needs to change.
So you need cultural awareness along with English skills?
Yes, English gives you the words, but cultural awareness helps you understand the meaning behind those words.
Can you give another example?
Sure. In meetings with my German colleagues, silence is normal. If I present an idea and there's 10 seconds of silence, it means they're thinking carefully about what I said. But my American colleagues usually respond immediately. At first, I thought the silence from my German colleagues meant they didn't like my idea, but that wasn't true at all.
So you learn to be comfortable with silence?
Yes, I learned that different cultures have different communication styles, and English is the common language that allows us all to work together despite these differences.
Does this make you think about English differently?
Definitely. I used to think English was just about grammar and vocabulary, but now I understand it's about connecting with people, building relationships, and creating understanding across cultures.
That's beautiful. Can you tell me about a time when English helped you build a relationship with a colleague?
Yes, I have a colleague named Sarah from the UK. When we first started working together, our conversations were just about work, very professional, very formal. But one day, we had a video call to discuss a design, and at the end, I asked her, "How's your weekend?" We started talking about our hobbies, and I discovered we both love cooking.
And that changed your working relationship?
Yes, after that conversation, we started sharing recipes and talking about food. Our work communication became easier because we had built a personal connection. Now, when we disagree about a design, it feels like two friends discussing options, not two strangers arguing.
So English helped you connect as human beings, not just as workers.
Exactly. That's the real power of English. It allows you to build genuine relationships with people all around the world.
I want our listeners to understand what kind of English you actually use at work. Can you give me some real phrases you say every day?
Sure, in meetings, I often say things like, "Let me walk you through this design," or "I'd like to get your feedback on this," or "What if we tried a different approach?" Also, "Could you clarify what you mean by that?" And "I see your point, but have you considered?" Another common one is, "Let's take this offline and discuss it later."
These are all common workplace phrases.
Yes, and I had to learn them. They're not in textbooks usually, but they're essential for professional communication.
What about written English? What do you write?
I write a lot of emails, usually short and clear. For example, "Hi team, I've updated the design based on yesterday's feedback. Please review and let me know if you have any concerns. Thanks, Alan."
That's simple and professional.
That's the key. Professional English doesn't need to be complicated. It needs to be clear. When I started, I tried to use fancy words to impress people, but I learned that simple, clear English is much better.
Can you give an example of explaining a design decision in simple English?
Sure. Instead of saying, "I utilize the chromatic scheme that emphasizes accessibility," I say, "I chose colors that are easy for everyone to see." Same meaning, but much clearer.
So you've learned to communicate simply and effectively.
Yes, that's what professional English is really about. Making sure everyone understands you, no matter their English level.
What about presentations? How do you present in English?
I always structure my presentations the same way. First, I explain the problem. Users are having trouble finding the settings menu. Then, I explain my solution. I redesign the menu to make it more visible. Finally, I show the results. In testing, 95% of users found it easily.
Problem, solution, results. That's a clear structure.
Yes, and it works every time. Good presentations aren't about impressing people with difficult English. They're about making your ideas clear and easy to understand.
What happens when you make a mistake in English during a presentation?
I used to panic, but now I just correct myself and move on. Last week I said, the button is in the upside instead of at the top. Someone smiled. I corrected myself, and we continued. Nobody cared.
So mistakes aren't the end of the world?
Not at all. Everyone makes mistakes. What matters is that you communicate your ideas. Perfect grammar is nice, but clear communication is essential.
We're near the end, but I want to ask you something important. What advice do you have for our listeners who want to use English for their careers?
First, understand why you need English. Don't just study English because someone told you to. Find your reason. For me, it was my career in UI design. For you, it might be something else. But having a clear reason makes learning much easier.
So purpose drives motivation.
Exactly. Second, use English in context. Don't just memorize words. Learn the words and phrases you actually need for your work or your goals.
Can you explain that more?
Sure. If you're studying general English, you might learn words like beautiful or nice. But for my job, I needed to learn specific phrases like user interface, design iteration. That means doing something again and again to make it better. Also, visual hierarchy. I learned English through my work, not separate from it.
So you recommend learning industry-specific English?
Yes, if you work in business, learn business English, words about meetings, emails, and professional communication. If you work in medicine, learn medical English, words about health and patient care. If you work in technology, learn technology English. This makes learning more relevant and more useful.
What else?
Practice speaking, even when it's uncomfortable. For years, I only practiced reading and writing because speaking made me nervous. But speaking is the most important skill for most jobs. You need to present ideas, participate in meetings, and build relationships.
How did you practice speaking?
I started small. I practiced alone in my apartment. Then, I joined online language exchange groups where I could practice with others. Then, I volunteered to speak more in meetings at work. Each step built my confidence.
What about listening? You mentioned understanding different accents is challenging.
Yes, so I recommend exposing yourself to many different English accents. Don't just listen to one type of English. Watch videos from different countries. Listen to podcasts with different speakers. This trains your ear to understand English in all its varieties.
That's practical advice. What about people who feel embarrassed about their English level?
I understand that feeling completely. I felt embarrassed for years. But here's what I learned. Everyone respects people who try. When you speak English, even though it's difficult for you, people admire your courage. They don't judge your mistakes. They appreciate your effort.
That's an important mindset shift.
Very important. And remember, English is a tool, not a test. You're not trying to get 100% perfect English. You're trying to communicate effectively. Those are two different things.
Can you talk about how English opened doors for you?
Sure, because I can communicate in English, I've had opportunities I never imagined. I've worked with teams in 10 different countries. I've traveled to conferences in the US, UK, and Singapore. I've built friendships with people from all over the world. I've increased my salary significantly. None of this would have been possible without English.
So English truly transformed your career?
Absolutely. 10 years ago, I was a junior designer who could barely speak in meetings. Today, I lead international projects and present to clients around the world. English was the bridge between those two versions of myself.
That's inspiring. Any final advice?
Yes, start now. Don't wait until your English is perfect to start using it. Use it now, with all its mistakes and imperfections. Every conversation makes you better. Every presentation builds your confidence. Every email improves your writing. English is like UI design. You learn by doing, not just by studying.
That's the perfect way to end. Thank you so much, Alan.
Thank you, PJ. I hope this helps your listeners see English as an opportunity, not an obstacle.
All right, everyone. I hope Alan's story showed you something important. English isn't just a school subject. It's a tool that can transform your career and open doors you didn't even know existed. Alan's story isn't unique. All around the world, people are using English to advance their careers, build international relationships, and create opportunities. But here's what I want you to remember. Alan didn't become fluent overnight. He started with difficulty. He made mistakes. He felt embarrassed. But he kept practicing because he had a clear reason: his career. Here are 3 key lessons from Alan's story. Purpose. Know why you need English and let that purpose motivate you. Practice. Use English in real situations, even when it's uncomfortable. Patience. Improvement takes time, but every conversation makes you better. And here's today's mantra. Repeat it with me. English is my tool, not my test. That's it. You're not trying to be perfect. You're trying to communicate and connect. If this helped you, hit the follow button so you don't miss what's next. If you know someone who feels stuck with English, send this to them. Share Alan's story and remind them that English can open doors. Leave a comment and let me know what you learned today, or how English is helping your career. I read every comment, and I learn from you too. Remember, Alan's English wasn't perfect when he started using it at work, and your English doesn't need to be perfect either. Start using it now. Start building connections. Start creating opportunities. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be. Thank you for being here today. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, keep using English as your tool for success.